Most people only remember her from a single scene, sitting across from Bill Murray, getting her mind read in a movie that made the whole world laugh. But the woman who lived after that scene, she was the real masterpiece. And the world barely knew her name? Willie Ames remembered the laughter most. He and Jennifer Runyon had been friends since the mid-1980s, when they played alongside each other on Charles in Charge. He as the lovable, goofy Buddy Lembeck, she as the sweet and sharp Gwendolyn Pierce. They shared Christmases together, vacations, weekends, dinners. They performed together long after the camera stopped rolling. And through all of it, through the decades of friendship and the shared seasons of life, what he said he will carry forever is the sound of her laughing. He wrote about her in a Facebook tribute that read less like a eulogy and more like a love letter. Jen was more than a friend. She was my dear, dear friend, muse, and encourager. We shared family Christmases together, vacations, weekends, lunches, and dinners together. We did shows together, but most of all, we laughed. That was Jen, even up until her last weeks. Even up until her last weeks. That is the image this article asks you to hold on to. Not the Bill Murray scene, though we'll get to that. Not the 1984 credits, though those matter, but a woman who laughed all the way to the end, who made people feel like the room got warmer when she walked in, who, even in her last weeks, somehow still made the people around her feel like everything was going to be okay. Jennifer Runyon Corman passed away on Friday, March 6, 2026, at the age of 65 after a 6-month battle with cancer. She died surrounded by her family. The world lost her, and most of the world didn't even know her name. This is who she was. In Part 1, the Chicago girl who was born for this Jennifer Runyon was born on April 1st, 1960, in Chicago, Illinois. And if there's something poetic about an April Fool's Day birthday for a woman who would spend her life making people smile, she almost certainly appreciated the irony. She grew up in a house that already understood entertainment. Her father, Jim Runyon, was a radio announcer and disc jockey, a familiar voice across multiple American cities, including a notable stretch at Chicago's top 40 station WCFL. Her mother, Jane Roberts, was an actress. Jennifer didn't stumble into show business. She was practically born on stage. In 1980, she was 19 years old and already working, making her feature film debut into All a Good Night, a holiday horror film that was never going to make anyone's list of classics, but that put her name on a call sheet and her face in front of a camera for the first time. She followed it with guest appearances on television series like The Fall Guy, Boone, and The Master. She landed a recurring role in the long-running NBC soap opera, Another World. She was building something carefully, steadily, credit by credit, the way working actors do, without the shortcut of overnight fame. And then came 1984, and everything changed. Part 2, the Bill Murray scene that defined her and also couldn't contain her. You know the scene even if you don't know her name. It's the opening of Ghostbusters. Before the logo, before the theme song, before Bill Murray zaps a guy with an electric shock just for guessing a card wrong, he sits across the table from a pretty college student, doing a paranormal card test. Only she doesn't know he's just making up the results because he finds her attractive. She keeps getting them wrong. Radiantly, cheerfully. She smiles at him like the sun came out. He tells her she's a very good subject. That was Jennifer Runyon. One scene, maybe 4 minutes of screen time, in one of the biggest blockbusters of an entire decade. And she didn't need more screen time. The warmth she brought to those few minutes, the total lack of self-consciousness, the pure natural ease, is exactly why that scene works as an opening. It establishes Peter Venkman's character perfectly, yes, but it also establishes something else, that this is a movie that likes people, that finds them charming, that believes in their basic goodness. Jennifer Runyon was the human face of all of that in 40 seconds. That same year, 1984, was an extraordinary one for her. She appeared in Up the Creek, opposite Tim Matheson, and she joined the cast of Charles in Charge, the CBS sitcom starring Scott Baio, where she would play Gwendolyn Pierce in the show's first season. It was a lead role. It was weekly television. It was exactly the trajectory a young actress with her gifts could have ridden all the way to a different kind of career. Instead, she built something better. Part 3, Cindy Brady, Quantum Leap, and a career built on showing up. After her first season on Charles in Charge, Jennifer kept working, steadily, without the cultural machine of an ongoing hit behind her, but without slowing down either. In 1988, she played Cindy Brady in A Very Brady Christmas, the television reunion film that drew one of the highest ratings of the entire season. If you are a certain age, you probably watched it with your family and thought nothing of the fact that Jennifer Runyon was in it. because she fit so seamlessly into the fabric of something that was supposed to feel like coming home. That same year, she starred in the In Crowd and appeared in the pilot episode of Quantum Leap. Think about that for a moment. The first episode of one of television's most beloved science fiction series contains Jennifer Runyon. She is woven into the fabric of 1980s American culture in ways that most people never connected to a single name or a single face. She appeared in Murder, she wrote. She kept working through the 90s and into the 2000s and 2010s in smaller projects. The kind of credits that don't make headlines, but that pay a mortgage and keep a craft alive, and remind a person who they are. Her last project was Spectral Squad, The Haunting of Sophie Lawson, a 2025 horror film, which means that Jennifer Runyon, even at 64 years old, even while facing a cancer diagnosis she was keeping private from the world, was still showing up, still on set, still doing what she loved. That's not a footnote, that's a character. The final word, what it means to live a life without apology. The entertainment industry has a very specific definition of success. It involves staying visible, staying current, staying in the conversation. It involves never fully walking away, never admitting you chose a different life, never being okay with being remembered for things you did 4 decades ago. Jennifer Runyon Corman rejected all of that so quietly that most people didn't even notice. She had her Bill Murray scene, she had her Brady Christmas, she had her pilot episode of Quantum Leap, and her Saturday morning sitcom, and her name on more beloved projects than most people ever touch. And then she went to San Clemente and married a basketball coach and taught children, and co-hosted a cooking podcast and raised a daughter who would grow up to be an actress in her own right, and who, when her mother died, said, "All the best parts of me came from you." That's the whole thing. That's the entire point. Fame is not the same as a life well lived. Visibility is not the same as being loved. A Hollywood career is not the same as a marriage that inspires people. A person who laughs, genuinely, warmly, all the way to the last few weeks of a 6-month cancer battle, has understood something about joy that most of us spend our entire lives chasing and never find. Jennifer Runyon Corman found it early, and she kept it.